Okay, so you should have had a few minutes to go over your warm-up and complete it. And so I'm going to walk through how to do it. So remember that the first thing you do is group your X's together, and then you insert that plus minus thing. Okay, so you set it up, then you take that negative 14 and you go off to the side and you divide it by 2. And then you're going to square it. So negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7 squared gives you 49. This is what goes in the blanks. This is your sheet number for when you factor. Okay, so we're going to put a 49 in each of those blanks. From there, then you're going to factor that parentheses. When you factor it, you go back to x minus 7 quantity squared. And then you add the two outside numbers, negative 49 and the negative 44. That gives you negative 93. From there, it also asks you to state the vertex. The vertex in this situation, if you remember back to when we did transformations and you went left, right, up, down, the thing inside the parenthesis tells you how many to move left and right, and it's always opposite. So for that reason, your vertex in this case is going to be positive 7, but negative 93 because it's going to move you 7 to the right and down 93. So there's your vertex. If we do the same thing for this one, we get y equals x squared plus 3x plus blank minus 28. This doesn't work out as nicely because dividing by 2 doesn't come out to a pretty number. That not pretty number is 1.5. And when you square 1.5, you get 2.25. So again, 2.25 goes in the blank. Sorry, that's crammed in there. And then you're going to factor it to y equals x plus 1.5 squared on the outside. And then add these two outside numbers together and you get negative 30.25. That then gives you a vertex of negative 1.5 and negative 30.25. Okay. These are the answers to your homework. You can hit pause if you want to check them. There you go. Okay, so we are going to focus on today using negative b over 2a, some more, opposite of b over 2a. And technically what we know is that we can use opposite of b over 2a when we need to graph any quadratic. So we're going to practice doing that some more. Okay, so first thing we always do is identify our a, b, and c. So a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is 3. So we're going to get our axis of symmetry first. And we're going to use that opposite of b divided by 2a. And in that case, that gives us opposite of b is going to be positive 4 over 2 times 1. So you get 4 over 2, which is x equals 2. And don't forget your x equals. Now, to get your vertex, you're going to plug that 2 in for your x into the equation. So you get your 2 goes in here, and your 2 is going to go also down here. So we're going to square that first one. Negative 4 times 2 plus 3. And when you do that, that's going to give you your y value. So we get 4 minus 8 gives me negative 4 4 minus 8 gives me -4, plus 3, you get -1. So your y value is going to be -1. So we can go ahead and put a point at 2, -1. And you can go ahead and add in your axis of symmetry from the first part, okay? So I know that the order of these is not in the order that we would do them, so I'm just kind of marking them as we go. And then our y-intercept, if you go back, we know our y-intercept is c, so that gives us 3 for our y-intercept, but we always want to put a 0 in front of that. So let's go ahead and mark that on our graph. And then we know, we count how many spaces there are away from that line, and we go the same amount on the other side, okay? So then we erase those. So since it's 2 spaces to the left, we want to go 2 spaces to the right. And that gives us our 3 points that we can draw our graph through. Okay? So our additional point here is going to be 4, 3. And a couple last things to get. Our domain is always going to be -infinity to infinity. And our range, in this case, since this is a low point, our low point is going to be, -1. And from there, it's going to go up to infinity. I'm going to let you work on number 2 and number 3, and then I'm going to do number 4 with you. Actually, I'll do 2 on your own, and then 3 I'll do with you. After I do this one, you can just check the work. I'll show you a screenshot of the other 2 problems, and you can just check your work. So in this case, our A value, we're going to get our opposite of B is -2 over 2 times -1. So we get -2 over -2, and our axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 1. We're going to plug that in. So we get 1 here. We're going to plug in and find what is this y value. So we do -1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 5. So I get -1 plus 2 is 1, 1 minus 5 gives me -4. So I get 1, -4 is my vertex. And we know that our axis of symmetry is also running through that from the first part. Your y-intercept is -5. And your reflection point is going to be 2, -5. From there, we can draw our graph. Please extend it down. Our domain, if you would rather write it with a symbol, you can write it that way. And our range is going to be, since this is a high point, we're going to start with -infinity and it peaks at -4. Okay? So hit pause, do number 2 and number 4, and then come back and check them. Here is your work for the second one. And here's your other one.